Hello.
Yeah, continue.
Are we live at the moment? Are we going live?
Yes, sir, we are live actually. I have shared the YouTube link also.
I see. Okay.
5 minutes
sounds
before
good.
it started, yes.
Wonderful.
It's 4:30. We begin.
Well, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you to our 30th Simple Talk series from CGBMT School of Simple Living. I request audience to mute yourself. The program is going to start. Yeah, thank you so much. So we are here in the exciting event that the pre-launch of book, that's the 30th Simple Talk series we are going to talk about. But for this, I would request two special persons here. We have researchers, we have scientists, we have more eminent speakers over here to talk about and exchange dialogue about this very awaiting book of the year, that's Let's Build with Bamboo. So for this, I would request Dr. Jagdish. He is a researcher, he is an expertise in civil engineering and a multifaceted person, architect, author, editor, and academician. And I would request him to be the moderator of the day. So I would like to invite him on the stage. And the second person, again, and especially Dr. Jagdish, he was involved in bamboo sector for a very long time. So it's we appreciate his presence here, and then sir, we welcome you here to take over the webinar. And there's one more special person here. His name is architect Sunit Paul. I'm really glad today to introduce him to the audience. He is again a former editor-in-chief of Architecture Plus Design. Again, a multifaceted person. He's an author, editor, academician, and we are very proud to have these two special persons here to take over this webinar in a very grand way. And they will be introducing our guest speakers, and this webinar is going to start. So we welcome you, both architect Sunit Paul and Dr. Jagdish, on behalf of CGBMT. Myself, architect Radhika Gopinath. I am the program manager for CGBMT. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, Sunit Pal, sir. Yeah, your mic is on mute.
Yes. Audible now? Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let's start the proceedings on this exciting event. I think it's a momentous day, to be honest, for architecture, vernacular architecture, contemporary architecture. This day that we are talking about a pre-launch of a book. The pre-launch of the book written by an equally dedicated personality, architect, and so many other facets that she has, a person that I have known for quite some time. And but coming back to the book, I think this is a momentous occasion, and that is why immediately when I came to know about it, I said, yes, I would definitely be wanting to be a part of this momentous occasion, which is going to lead forward a lot of students, practitioners, understanding this the versatile material and the romanticized material that bamboo is. So thank you for the organizers having me here. And
Sunit Palji, sorry to
Hanji,
interrupt you.
yeah,
Yeah. So, having worked as an editor for architecture and design for so long time. So can you tell me on, how many number of papers or articles used to come on bamboo, and how the bamboo book will become a way forward, particularly at this moment, based on your experience, because A plus. See, when you when you were the editor for the architecture and design,
yes, Jagdish.
a lot of articles used to
Of course,
publish.
of course, of course. You see, but you see, I mean, they were, to be very honest, in my little vast experience that I had with the magazine, Architecture Plus Design, we were always struggling to get articles and projects which were talking vernacular architecture, the thematic content, talking about materials, talking about construction in our spheres. Although we are a country of 1.4 billion people and such a vast country, which is maybe larger than Europe if put together, but yet, to be honest, answering your question, it was a struggle. You see, each time, I mean, there were papers which were being written, but I also felt that people did not really want to come forward. This was another aspect, that it was only the mainstream which is supposed to be contemporary, and people somehow in the profession also have never considered vernacular and talking about materials of this. They're more romanticized, and that is why this excitement which was there in me, knowing about this book, the way. But we, of course, we'll be discussing this book. And Jagdish, by the way, I also know that I came to know yesterday that you have done a lot of research on bamboo also, right?
But for common people mind, there are a lot of questions lingering around, because people know about bamboo, people know about the applications of bamboo, but the thing is, how to handle the bamboo is a big question. Don't you think that this book will give a kind of way forward, or will give a kind of solution to these people, wherein the future applications on bamboo can be taken up with this?
Absolutely, I totally feel, and that is why this ring of excitement that I feel today, when I really mean it, that it is a momentous occasion when I say that, because having gone through this, the soft copy of the book which is there, I mean, it is an A to Z on bamboo. You name it. What does it doesn't have? You see, it has international projects, it has national projects, it is talking about the specifications, it is talking about bamboo as a material, what bamboo is, it is giving you construction details, which in my span of 40 years in the profession, an Indian author talking about a material in this format, it's been very rare. One or two books I may have come across, to be honest, which have gone so in depth, and talking about construction.
Sunitji, one moment. Can I ask everyone to mute themselves when speakers are speaking?
Okay, as a host, you will have an access, so just try to.
Sonali, just see if you can mute everybody. I mean, no, other than the speakers, or all other people can mute themselves, because we are not able to listen.
It's we managed it.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers to that. So coming back to what I was talking about, that this is an A to Z. It's almost like a Bible on bamboo. It gives you construction details, the type of things, and it talks about traditional construction. It talks about contemporary methodology of approach. You see, it gives you viewpoints. I really congratulate the author Neelamji for having spent this time and bringing it forward to not only for the Indian audiences, but I think over a period of time, it is going to be looked at very seriously as a reference book, as a guide, you see, for internationally also.
Thank you so much.
As I know Neelam ji from 2004 onwards, and the effort she was putting on bamboo as a building material for the last few years is tremendous. Wherein we can see, when she talk about the book launch, you can see the eminent personalities who are coming to grace this occasion, like Dr. Bansal ji and A.K. Srivastava ji and Shiv Shailam sir and DK, and then the eminent architects who are gracing this occasion. So we are too excited to know about this book. I request Neelam ji to give a brief introduction about the book and over to Neelam ji.
Okay, thank you, Jagdish. So I have prepared a very, very short presentation. I'll just try to share. It's a new system, so okay, it's gone here. One second, just give me a moment. Ajit, can you just quickly? It's showing what? Yeah, open system. Allow Zoom to share the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen? No?
No, not madam.
Just a minute. Second. Same unknown. So I go to this. Okay, hold and shift. Can you I have put in CGMT BLR, open from there.
Can Radhika share it? If she
Yeah, it is there in CGMT BLR. We're just opening it. I mean, from our web. This
right.
system is new, so it's little. So I'll just quickly. I mean, while it comes on, I'm really quite overwhelmed by all the personalities who actually agreed to come on this webinar and talk about the book. And this has been a long journey, almost 23 years, literally, working with bamboo from 1999. And so yes, the skin has come. Okay. So this is something which is, yeah. So this is the name of the book, and how we actually thought of several kinds of names for the book, but I always kept on feeling that I really want to take everyone together. And when I'm talking about building with bamboo, and bamboo is a very symbiotic kind of a material where you need other people to work with you. It's almost like that. It's like symbiotic, what we call, like the way life is symbiotic depending on one another. And same thing when you're working with bamboo. Radhika, can you ask people to mute themselves, please?
Yes, ma'am. So, my dear audience, please mute your audio because it's disturbing the event. Hello. Yes, Neetaji. I think we can hear your voice.
Mr. Jyoti, Mr. Giriraj, may I request you to mute yourself?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you. So bamboo being a very symbiotic material when we talk about, so I looked at a topic, title for the book, which would be like we are building together. And that's why the name of the book is Let's Build with Bamboo. Can we have the next slide? Mr. Lingraj, can you mute yourself, please? And Mr. Giriraj, yourself also, please. Thank you. Now this book, coming of this book is like when I started working with bamboo, as I said, from 1999. There was not much data. I was working with, and that other story, I was working with IPIRTI and Bansal sir, we have here in the audience. He was the director of IPIRTI. And the story started with Mr. Sivshelam. Sivshelam sir was the one who called me one morning and at 7 o'clock in the morning, and he told me, can you do a project with bamboo? You'll not get any fees. It's a tiny project. And I immediately said yes. And the rest is history for me. And I started working with IPIRTI. We had done a lot of research, on the material. But when you come to the field, actual Radhika, I'm not able to concentrate on what I'm speaking.
Yes, we are doing it.
You can mute all of them from your side.
Yes, sir. We'll do that.
Yeah. So, but when we go to work on it in the field practically, like when you're working in a research organization and from there, when you go to the market and you try to do the smallest projects also, it was very difficult to, execute anything. And we also had hardly any human resource. There was no carpenter willing to work. There were no architects willing to work. There were no, anybody did not want, carpenters wanted to work with all Burma teak or ply or something like that. Nobody wanted to work with it. And so I started how the journey, I will just try to share the journey as to how it actually the book came about and under what circumstances. And so for every project that I took, I had to skill people on the site. First, I had to somehow forcibly bring them, and then I had to skill them on the site. If you take any little, experienced person also in the bamboo field, they would charge you 3 times more. And the client will try to tell you that you have to give me a bamboo building at the cost of a tent. So it's like, it was so difficult. So I started skilling at site, taking people. Can you have the next slide? And so that's how the making of the book actually started, with a skilling exercise that I was trying to do. And I'm trying to teach them. So I started writing, trying to make notes. And then I started skilling the people who were there on the site. In my office also, I started speaking to people. Can I go to the next slide, please? Yeah. And from 99 to about 2002, we worked on 2 projects in IPIRTI. And then I started this from 2003. I took it, actually, the projects that I had done. 3 projects. One was first one in Raj Bhavan and second at IPIRTI. We had a 2-bedroom house that we had done, and another one again with IPIRTI at Chennai. There was a exhibition hall that we had done with IPROTI. All these projects were done with the IPIRTI. And then I took these projects to Professor Dr. Prem Saran Satsangi, who is the ex-director of IIT Delhi. And he was the chairman of the advisory committee on education for Dalbagh Educational Institute, Agra. And then he somehow told me that, Neelam, this is lot of potential. This is great potential, and you should really pursue it. And then again, further, I started developing syllabus and the course content with some help from the university, courseware, etc. In 2008, the deemed university DEI gave me a go-ahead to launch the course. I further refined it and rolled out the course in 2011, and I'm happy to say that we're still running for the last 11 years. And we had two different kinds of courses that we ran. One was a home-based program where I wanted to skill the people who would be actually designing and taking the managerial, roles. So that was a home-based program, like a PG certificate course with 2 workshops in each semester, one in each semester. And this required lectures to be sent to the students and assignments and MCQs, etc., to be prepared. So here I started collating the information and my experiences that I had, I was going through while I was practicing and trying to speak to people, trying to go to different organizations, whether you call it HUDCO or KPTCL or wherever, wherever I went, I was just simply speaking about bamboo to them. And all that information that I was getting and the inputs that I was getting, I started collating that information for these courses that I had started. And the second one was a certificate course, which I was doing with around 25% theory and 75% classes were practicals. And these were primarily for 7th, 8th standard kind of a people, or absolutely like masons and carpenters and execution level people. So these 2 courses were started in 2011. And in the certificate course also, I started collating the information about the practical aspect on the site. How do you handle things? So the theory and the practical, these 2 things I started collating together. The next one. Oh, I'm really sorry. This has gone a little like that. And so these courses were run with resources from IPIRTI. All the directors have been very, I say IPIRTI is my alma mater for working with bamboo. And all the directors and the scientists have been really very cooperative with me, both at IPIRTI and IWST. And there were other scientists and industries like Gromor Biotech, and then many other people who have helped me to run these courses with the resources from these people I have been running. And then in 2014, in collaboration with DEI, we ran our 9-week modular course under a tripartite agreement with the Dalbagh Educational Institute and MP State Bamboo Mission and CGBMT. We did a collaboration, and so I prepared, as per the university norms, I prepared a whole again a courseware for the course, which was supposed to be for 9 weeks, which has again exams and all that as per the National Skill Development Council. I had another one because MP Bamboo Mission, the tripartite agreement was only for Madhya Pradesh. So for the whole of the country, which in DEI, Dalbagh Educational Institute had more than 90 study centers, and they wanted to do in as many centers as possible to start to further take bamboo forward. And so we had another MOU with DEI in 2017 again to run it over. And so they are now running it as a regular modular course as a institute, though it is not run so well because this is almost a practical kind of a course, which they wanted to run in a practical way. But due to COVID, we ran for 1 or 2 years, and then due to COVID, it has gone into a little problem, and we are again doing it. So these are the courses for which I made materials, study materials. Can I go to the next slide? And so when I was doing all this, it felt, I'm really sorry about this extended thing, but I can keep speaking. So I realized that I was getting a lot of applications for internship. Architects were coming to me, and they were for dissertations, for their research work. I was getting a lot of requests, and I was not able to attend to everybody as much as I would have liked to attend and give my attention, and in this whole thing, I almost delivered 200 lectures all across the world and conducted close to 100 workshops, again, all across the world, including Europe and Paris and Venice and India and several places. And then I've advised on over 150 dissertations, theses, projects, and papers, etc. But I thought it's, like still people had questions which I was not able to really work on to. And so I was thinking I was unable to do justice. And then that's why I thought a reference kind of a book would be required. And that's when, in fact, Arun Bansal sir also, I met him in 2010, and he said, why don't you write a book, which can be a reference book for everyone. And that's where this process of developing a comprehensive reference book actually started. Can I go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so by July 2021, I finished almost through 2 years of COVID. We compiled all the data that I had and got some of the chapters reviewed from scientists from IPRTI, Nasim Murthy, and IWST, Dr. Vani, from KFRI, Drs. Sita Lakshmi. And we had 3 pillars: architect Professor Anand DK, Dr. Professor Sanjeev Singh, my classmates from architecture, and Dr. Jagdish Vengala, who has been by my side always in all kinds of doubts where the civil engineering part was there. And we have been working together in that manner. And that's how, the content afterwards was shared with architect Rajesh Advani of Architecture Live, and for proofreading and editing, etc., to make the final version for the printing. So that's how stage right now. Can you have the next slide, please? And these are the contents. I just wanted to just very briefly touch upon the content, since we are talking about the book, how we have tried to do it. And this was, I think, Dr. Sanjeev and architect Professor Anand DK will speak about it later. But this is just, I will just run through. It is on there as an introduction with bamboo in construction, then contribution of architects from around the world, then acceptability, that was a very big issue in bamboo. Then bamboo as a material in construction, where then we went on to the properties of bamboo, species, harvesting, treatment, joinery. And so this first volume is like sort of preparing the bamboo for the final construction. And when we, can you have the next slide? And the next volume actually starts talking about the basic design guidelines, project management, then prototype testing. And in this prototype testing, we have also taken tests which can be done anywhere, because I'm sure all of us, we know that every test cannot be done. Everyone cannot actually afford to do all kind of testing. For each building cannot be tested, or each component cannot be tested. So we have some methods of very ballpark kind of a testing which can be done directly on the site by you don't need engineers for that. You can do some ballpark kind of a thing like the way they do in rural areas or general construction, because of all the construction that happen, I don't think more than 7-8% of them actually go for proper testing for components and things like that. So for all others who can't afford and can't make it and don't have access to it, there has to be some other kind of, especially in bamboo, in the case of bamboo, where data is still very thin and spread out. And this was another very important aspect that we thought was necessary. So we have put in the tests that we have been doing on the site while taking up construction. And then model making, which is a very important part of construction with bamboo, and then foundation, superstructure. Each one we took it separately: flooring, doors and windows, scaffolding, composites. And then bamboo is a very light material, so domes, shells, and spatial structures and large pavilions. It's one of the best materials to build with these large span structures. So that is another. Then bridges and roads and embankments and miscellaneous. This is how the whole the two volume actually works. Can I have the next? Yeah, so this is the cover of the book, Let's Build with Bamboo. And the cover photograph that you see is actually a composition of a photograph and a sketch by me. And if you see that particular actually is my office bamboo symphony seen in the night. So it's almost like a window. And the sketch which is there is, if you see in detail, if you can Can you zoom in the sketch? Is it possible to zoom in the sketch? The sketch is about from plantation, harvesting. No, just that sketch. Yeah, there. This little top. Can you just take it to the top? Yeah. So this is, I think, slightly blurred, but this has a whole process of processing of bamboo, and how it has gone to the last sketch that you see is of Bamboo Symphony. So how my process of, like starting from harvesting, cutting it, treatment, and then make it into components, and then get to that. And this is what the story of the whole bamboo, it's called Kalpavriksha, I call it. This was my, the sketch which I had sent to for the Architecture Biennale, International Architecture Biennale in Venice, for a presentation there. And that is how this whole, and that's what I thought was something that it's like a window looking into the future of bamboo, where bamboo would be used as a very contemporary, in a very contemporary language. Though it will have all the traditional thing, because this particular building is built on the principle of fishing platforms, which is thousands of years of old structural system of fishing platforms where bamboo is used. And so this particular project has used a structural system, Bamboo Symphony. And that's how, so it's like a window that, you have a traditional system that has been used to give it a contemporary language to bamboo. And that's why that's the significance for me for this particular photograph composition of the sketch. Yeah, can I have the next slide? And then, of course, these are the informations that I think later Sagar and Radhika, they'll be talking about it, about the book and the blurb that we have. Yeah, next. Next. So the book, this is the proceeds of the book will go to CGBMT, my organization, CGBMT School of Simple Living, to conduct further R&D, course development, skilling and training in the sector. And this webinar is to explain the intent, the content and the flow of the book to the readers and users and academia and so on. And I request for everyone's support to carry on further work on bamboo for us, and then using it to take it further from your end for the sake of bamboo. And thank you so much. You can close the windows.
Thank you, Neelamji, for a brief presentation, and it gave a proper insight on what the contents of the book is. So let me get into a little bit of the history behind this book and the people who are involved in this book. So I joined IPIRTI because ma'am was mentioning about the base of her work is from IPIRTI. So when Bansalji is a director. So I joined in 2004 when Dr. C.N. Pandey was the director, and who carried forward the bamboo work from Bansalji. And it was a golden period, even for me, wherein I have learned a lot. And the day one, when I joined IPIRTI, I met Shivasailam sir on first day. So he was there in closing ceremony of one of the bamboo-based training house, which was sponsored by BMTPC. So as rightly mentioned by Neelamji, Shivasailam sir was, inspiration for many. Let me introduce Shivasailam sir to the August audience. Shivasailam sir was a retired IAS and a honorable administrative member of KSCAT Karnataka. He joined Indian Administrative Service in '85, superannuated in April 2020. Last served as a Special Secretary, Logistics, Department of Commerce in the Government of India. Prior to that, he served as Special Secretary in the Department of Telecom in the Government of India. His earlier tenure in the Government of India was in the Department of Personnel and Training as Deputy Secretary. In the Government of Karnataka, he has served in various capacities, starting from the latest Additional Chief Secretary, Department of Public Enterprises, Principal Secretary, Health and Family Welfare, Principal Secretary, Forest Ecology and Environment, Managing Director, Rajiv Gandhi Rural Housing Corporation. When he was there in Rajiv Gandhi Rural Housing Corporation, I met him personally. And he was the Chief Executive Officer, Jilla Panchayat, Gulbarga, Joint Secretary, Deputy Secretary, and many other posts. He was a very vibrant Indian Administrative Service officer from Karnataka. So I request Shiv Shailam sir to give his thoughts on the book and about Neelamji. Over to Shiv Shailam sir.
Thank you for this wonderful introduction about me. I'm deeply obliged to you and Neelam for having me over and honoring me on this occasion when it should actually be Neelam who should be honored for bringing out this book. Yes, definitely. When I met both of you, I never thought it's going to, I mean, bamboo is such a, we are entering into an area where the subject was not developed at all. I mean, I never thought that we are going to achieve such dizzy heights which Neelam has achieved, and Jagdish, you are also a part, and several other architects are also a part of it. Yes, this was a matter that this was a wonder material was actually brought to me by a Professor Rajan, who used to be with Professor and our President, Professor Abdul Kalam. Now, it is through him that I really came to know that this ecosystem actually existed, and that Professor Abdul Kalam was himself working on that. Now, as my luck, or as I would say, as my ill luck would have it, Professor Abdul Kalam was about to come to the Rajiv Gandhi Rural Housing Corporation, but he was nominated to be president. So he never made it to my office, and that is how his Professor Rajan, who worked closely with Professor Abdul Kalam, made it to my office and gave me he himself had a protocol, and the state arranged this protocol in such a way that they said that you're going to have only half an hour with him, and he spent 6 hours in my office, and most of it was on bamboo. And then this, as Neelam mentioned, the project on bamboo came along, and I was excited to do it because it had to be done with architects who had the flair, who were not afraid of failures. I mean, this is a very important aspect. People should be willing to try. I was willing to put in the money for the work. Didn't bother as much for the failure of it as much as it should serve the occasion, which was the first occasion. And that was all what was the requirement. And later on, of course, it took a totally different shape. It survived. It won public acclaim. And Neelam thought that much more should be done. And that's how I think it got picked up. But that was a very, very small spark. But all what you people have really taught me, I mean, as a lifetime experience for me, is that sparks can create fires. I mean, I always thought, how does forest fires occur? But when you look at the people, at least, I have no doubts that sparks can create fires, as it has done, and has led to this work. As has been rightly mentioned, almost anything related to bamboo as a construction material and as a construction technology was unknown, and every aspect of it had to be experimented and researched, and that's where institution like support of a person like Neelam, by an institution like IPRT, by Bansalji and Pandeyji, I think they were willing to experiment. They were willing to try it out. They were willing to go and provide opportunity to people like her. And And that's something which I thought public institutions should do, continue to do, and continue to do for more, for people like Neelam who have the fire to get things done in this sector. Yes, of course, when we were talking formally yesterday, I did mention that this is a case of a kindergarten student being asked to review a book by a PhD. I mean, I still remained at the kindergarten stage, moved on in other aspects of my career, whereas Neelam pursued it. People like Jagdish and joined her on the way. People like Bansal Pandeji continued to support. Many other architects joined her, and that's how the subject built. And today we have a book which addresses the aspects which is required for construction with bamboo and construction technology of bamboo. I mean, there are two different aspects, you know. I mean, that's where one needs to, I would put it with what I would call my layman or what I would call a bureaucratic understanding of things. I would still put it in this following manner. Institutionally in India, you have wonderful support from IPRITI, which addresses this whole bamboo-related environment construction technology from the raw material side. You also have institutions like TIFAC, which is an institution which was started by Professor Abdul Kalam, our former president, in order to transfer composite technologies using bamboo as raw material. Now that's what fascinated me, and I was associated with TIFAC also, wherein we set up this incubation center for manufacture, and the key element where support. And I understand IPRITI continues to work with TIFAC, which is sponsored by the RV institution, still called RV TIFAC, and they both collaborated. One on the material side and one on the technology side. The other one is on the manufacture and how to prepare composites. And that's the way I thought we need to go. We need to take the knowledge forward, which is there in the book. It should inspire. The purpose of this book is to inspire people, the next generation of people, to take bamboo as a construction material. I mean, all what I would like to tell you is, I mean, we are all talking about cement concrete, but cement concrete is only around 1930s. I mean, it's not even completed 100 years. It's a 1920s, 30s phenomenon. So bamboo, with the technology upswing which we are having, has got great potential. The areas, a lot of areas have been identified. We need to address them. From my side, pardon me for saying so, but you should. The purpose of the book is to carry the subject forward, and some of the views may be dated, maybe my own views. I still believe that the future of bamboo-related technology lies with composites and its manufacture, and once we are able to because bamboo is a fantastic material for composite impregnation, particularly glass fibers. And I have seen materials myself, of course, when I was working in the metro, when we did have a thing when we thought that we could have some small preformed piles with composites. It was possible. Of course, it remained at that stage because I was on my way out, having completed almost 4.5 years. But the research was on, and we did have some piles which could, which had as much strength as pre-manufactured piles. And that's bamboo is a great material for that, because it can go in once it is a composite, it can go. So you can get good structural strength out of it. I mean, the weaknesses which we talk about in relation to bamboo as a material, those could be overcome by taking other aspects such as work technology, how to impregnate materials into bamboo to make it happen. And that's the way I thought it's forward. We have come a long way. I think these aspects are also, some of these aspects are also discussed in the book. The idea of this book is to give people, people who are entering this field, not to go through that experience again. We have already done it for a generation. For people like you, the young architects, people in their middle ages, well, I remember starting it off around February 2000. That's the time when I joined the Rajiv Gandhi Rural Housing Corporation, and I met Neelam almost within 10 days of my joining, around that period. And that's the way. When it's almost a 25-year effort to create, say, 500 pages. But just imagine the value of that effort. You need to, the purpose is for you to absorb each one of it. Don't go for rediscovering of the wheel, but please challenge it, because that's the way the book gets improved. You need, this should not be the final book. Once you say it's a final book, that means the subject is dead and gone. That's not the way to look at it. You need to absorb this, validate it yourself that this is what was done. I have validated, so the book is validated. Now, let me create my own thing, move it forward. Sky is the limit. And that's the purpose of the book, is to excite more people to have the same passionate approach which Neelam brought into the development of the book, and shared almost everything she did 25 years. 22 years, maybe close to it, but yes, almost everything. It contains everything. It's very few people will share these knowledge. I mean, thinking that why I should do it, but she has done it, and all what she gets is none of the, to the best of my knowledge, none of it is a copyrighted thing except the words, and the words are relevant only if you copy it, only if you copy the practice. The mere statement of the words really does not have any meaning, and that's the selfless way I think Neelam has looked into it. She has shared her knowledge. She a knowledge built over a lifetime, and that's what is there for you to appreciate and challenge and take it forward, and bring out an industry. You need to, I think CG BMT should, I would request Sunil and others, that this is an industry which can sponsor, which can have startups. With India scaling the world in startup technology, having number 3, we were 10 last year, and this year we are 3. And it's not long before we should be number 1. And you can only have startups in new technologies. You cannot have startups in old technologies. So you need to catch it when it is new. That's what I mean. We have Professor from Britain, and that's what to the best of my knowledge, that's what Britain does. And I did work with the DFID when I was in service. Including the startup ecosystems, and I do share their view, and that's what is their view as well. You need to startups can only come in the new ecosystem. It cannot be in an ecosystem which is mature. You can only have mature enterprises there. But this is the way to take it forward. Congratulations, Neelam, and all of you who have worked with her, all institutions who have worked with her. To help her bring this book, professors who contributed, people who have contributed their knowledge and decided to share it for the benefit of posterity. I salute each one of you, and wish you the very best going forward. And as I would like to say, I would like to pitch for getting this technology mainstreamed, and that comes through entrepreneurship, and this is what we need to look at it next. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for honoring me by your invitation. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Shivashailam sir, for your encouraging words, for getting to see this book into the limelight. And also, I still remember, when I met you during 2000 in Hubli in one of the conference where I presented self-compacting concrete, and suddenly joined 2004 IPRITI. You said like any material you have to work, and then you have to bring the research into the common man. So when I joined the IPRITI, Dr. Pandey ji was the director, and he used to say a lot of work has been done under the guidance of Dr. A.K. Bansal ji, Mr. A.K. Bansal ji, and so whenever we were there, we were talking about like all the time Bansal ji, Bansal ji, Bansal. So because the amount of work he has put forward in the area of the bamboo is tremendous, particularly in IPRITI. So I would like to introduce Mr. A.K. Bansal sir. He is a IFS retired, former additional DG Forests India, advisor and special consultant, JICA Nagaland Forest Management Project, member MOE of CC, Empowered Committee and MOE of CC Task Force, chairperson NCCF, NWFP, SDG. So there are a lot of capacities he has worked. He has, traveled the entire country and seen a lot of technologies. I request Bansalji to give his view on the book, and Nilamji. Over to Bansalji.
Thank you, Dr. Jagdish, for nice words. It is really a matter of honor to participate in this book launch program by architect Neelam. I remember vividly that when I joined IPRITI, I knew bamboo only as a material for making paper, pulping it and making paper, and at best a poor man's timber. But when I joined IPRITI, I saw the potential. IPRITI was doing a lot of work on bamboo already, and we continued that work under the support we got from many people, including the International Network of Bamboo and Rattan, that is INVAR based in China. There is a intergovernmental organization, the Building Material Technology Promotion Council of India, the TRADA Technology of UK, which works with DFID of UK, Department for International Development. And we got a lot of support from the then Union Environment Minister, Mrs. Suresh Prabhuji, who comes from Ratnagiri, a bamboo area. He continues to be a bamboo enthusiast himself even now. So as you know, bamboo is actually a natural renewable material, and being biological, it has many limitations. But as I see from the perspective of strength properties, it is a naturally produced construction material by nature. As such, you can use it. And strength by strength, weight by weight, it is found to be stronger than steel. It may come as a surprise to many of you, but that is a fact. Weight by weight, it is stronger than steel. It is a very high tensile strength. But being a biological material, it has got its own limitations in the sense that it has got issues of durability, because it is easily attacked by insect, pests, and other things. So when we think of constructing with bamboo, there are many things which have to be kept in mind. Especially, we have to select the right species for the application with which we are looking at. The right time of harvest, right age at which it has to be harvested, the treatment which it has to be provided before being used. Because otherwise, when you construct with bamboo without treating it or pre-treating it, you may really be doing a very great mistake, because the structure may not last very long. But when you treat it properly, it can last for even 50 years. The other aspect which have to be looked into is the good design, because if you don't have a proper design, it is very difficult to work with natural materials like wood and bamboo, which requires a very serious design input. And also, you have to see that it doesn't come in contact with earth as long as it is possible, because once it comes in contact with earth, the degeneration starts. So there are ways and means through which it needs to be done, and it can be done. Another aspect which is very important with bamboo is the fasteners and joinery, because the material splits very easily. So the fasteners and joinery is a very important aspect which has to be looked into. Although bamboo has been a part of National Building Code, it is there in National Building Code 2016 in part 1, I think in some section, part 6, section 3, we talks of bamboo. But then the lot is not known about bamboo among the architects and engineers, because they are not being taught this as a building material which needs to be done. This is an important aspect, and therefore there are a lot of gaps in using the bamboo. I am sure this book, which is the culmination of the experience gained by Neelam for last almost a quarter century. I remember when we introduced her to, or bamboo was introduced to her earlier in 2000 at Ipriti through a small structure which we constructed at Rajbhavan in Bangalore, and then a 2-bedroom house in Bangalore, in Ipriti, Bangalore. Since then, she has been continuously working with bamboo and experimenting with bamboo and researching with bamboo. And she has made a name for herself in the field of bamboo architecture. I am sure this book will fill up many gaps which a normal architect would want to know about bamboo. If somebody wants to start constructing with bamboo, and if he has this book, he will get answers to many of questions, many of queries which he might be having, because he has not studied the material as such in the degree courses or even the postgraduate courses. Now, another aspect which is important about bamboo is that how do you get good quality material? Now, we at NCCF are working on developing of sustainability standards for bamboo, including bamboo, the non-wood forest products, because bamboo is now a MFP. So we are working how to source bamboo from a sustainable source, and also on production of quality planting material of the right species. If you want to grow bamboo, it can be grown in 6-7 years time. So if you are thinking of something as a particular species required for a particular use, those species can be grown in just a period of 5 to 6 years, and you can get almost a continuous supply of bamboo as a raw material if you start thinking of that. There are, of course, several standards on bamboo properties or bamboo strength properties, but there are not much on bamboo joinery, bamboo treatment. Of course, standards are there, but the use of those standards are very low. I am sure with the publication of this book, many of those myths will be dispelled, and people will get to know more and more about bamboo. I really salute the spirit with which Neelamji has been working for almost a quarter century now, and I am sure she will continue to work more in this field. We of course, this is one of the books which have come for architects and builders. There are a number of publications, technical publications are available from the field, from the research lab or something. I have myself published a sort of policy paper on unlocking the potential of bamboo in various fields, including housing, which is available on NCCF website. So I once again thank Neelamji for bringing out this publication, which is very useful. And I'm sure this will get updated in a couple of years' time when a lot of people start using bamboo as a construction material. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for participating at this pre-launch, the book launch program. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bansal. I mean, this is fascinating to be really a part of this journey of the making of this book, which, as our illustrious speakers have said, is going to be something which is going to ignite, the future generations also, because bamboo is not a material, as we said. And as Neelamji pointed out, the journey of making a book as an architect, as a writer, as a journalist person, it fascinates me to get involved in understanding. And I think it's going to enthuse a lot of people to document what they are doing also. You see, bamboo has been talked about so many places everywhere in the world. But, and it's nothing new that we have in India also. It's a very age-old traditional way of construction in architecture. But the way the book also brings out the contemporary utility of bamboo, I think is going to be further enthusing our young ones, and I would say not only the young ones, but also the practicing architects. Because I think this is a time when we are really talking about climate change and Shiv Sailonji has talked about it, Bansalji has talked about. This is a time when India, I think, needs to talk about alternate technologies. And bamboo is one material, I think, the versatility, if it is understood by the Indian creative architect, I think there is no stopping the utility of this technology. And this book, in fact, that is what I emphasize, that it is not only talking about the nuances of bamboo, but it also gives you practical solutions if you get stuck, in the construction process. And it also gives the confidence to the architects and the builders, I would say, with the kind of testing, etc., that puts you on, So, but I'm actually feeling that I never knew bamboo so very well, and it's also it's almost like being in a bamboo family here. Everybody has worked so much on this book and on this subject of bamboo, that it's fascinating to see the journey, how from what it was 25 years of Neelamji's practice, how passion, commitment, deep commitment, and one-track focus, along with assistance, of course, which comes. But then you have to be a leader, to enthuse others also, which is not an easy task. And I'm sure the documentation of this book also, as she beautifully, comprehensively described it, had its own challenges also, And I think the challenges were all well worth it, as we go forward. What do you say, Jagdish?
Yes, sir. I totally agree with you because the contents of the book, I've just gone through it. Because many of the colleges, engineering colleges or architecture colleges are public forums. Recently, I'd been to Chikmagaluru Civil Engineers Association, so when we were presenting about the bamboo and bamboo related, technology, a lot of questions were, asked by the engineers and architects. These questions, the answers, you may get it from the book, because the compilation of the book is almost contains, most of the information which can provide it to the engineers, architects, or general public themselves. So yeah, can we go forward? Shall I go ahead? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it was a great motivational words from Bansalji. And I just wanted to mention it when I joined IPRIT in 2004 till 2013-14. I worked on bamboo housing and seismic performance of bamboo housing closely with BMTPC. Dr. C.N. Pandeji was the backbone and he used to support me. So I visited Japan, USA, and then China to work on the bamboo housing related activities further. I hope Pandeji is in online. If he's there, I request him at least to say 1 or 2 words. Pandeji is there, I hope.
Thank you, Dr. Jagdish.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Welcome.
I would like to, because I closely worked with you for almost 7-8 years, and we were discussing about the the work carried out by Bansalji. And as a scientist, you are a scientist, and then you came as a director. We took a lot of effort to carry forward the work by Bansalji. I request you to say a few words, about the book and Neelam.
Yeah, welcome, Pandey. Welcome, Pandey, sir. Welcome, Pandey, sir.
Thank you, madam, and thank you, Dr. Jagdish. At the outset, I think I must congratulate Professor Manjunath for bringing out such a wonderful book. I have seen several books published on bamboo, But from architectural and from engineering point of view, I think this is going to be the first book, and which will be really very helpful our young engineers and young architects actually to promote bamboo-based housing and bamboo-based structural system in future. There are certainly a lot of work has been done by Neelam Manjunath. In fact, during my time period, very frequently she used to visit Iparti and Jagdish Bangla and all that. We used to have discussion, and then with her, I think, advice, the two-story building was later on developed in Iparti, where a lot of inputs were provided by Professor Neelam Manjunath. She has really devoted, I think, as Dr. Bansal already said, and Dr. Sushalam also mentioned, more than 30 years. And she has really done wonderful work in almost every aspects of bamboo, starting from its property and its preservative treatment, and then which bamboo, in fact, which bamboo, because in bamboo there are several varieties of bamboo, and which one is actually highly suitable for constructional material. I think from that aspect, from that point of view, book is very helpful. I only wish that in India, we should have some grading rule actually, which I feel for bamboo as a material, if it has to be used for structural purposes, we should have a grading rule. And I think with the support of the this BIS, Bureau of Indian Standard, I think in future, if some work is to be continued in the direction of bamboo and all that, we should, I think of developing a new grading rule for the bamboo. And with this word, I think I must thank to and congratulate also to Professor Manjunath. And I'm equally thankful to Jagdish actually for taking me to that period, calling it as a golden period. And really, that was during those 10 years, I really enjoyed working with all the scientists in Iparti. And really, we carried forward whatever work was initiated by Bansal sir. Bansal sir really is the initiator of the bamboo projects actually in Iparti, in collaboration with BMTPC, and later on directly from TIFAC also we used to get the fund. And lot of work has been done, and now there is a need actually to publicize more and more this work. Just to I think remind Bansal sir that during it is because of his initiative we brought out a book actually. It's a small booklet, Bamboo Composites, that is Iparti Technology. So whatsoever work which has been done in Iparti, we also tried to made an attempt to publish a small book which will be very useful to people who are interested in utilizing composite material for their structural purposes. So with this, let me thank to each one of you for an opportunity and really talking something about this bamboo. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pandey, because, you know, in the program, it was not there, but by looking at your name in the, you know, the participants, I thought you are the right person you should address, because, you know, the initiation started by Bansalji was carried out and carried forward by you. And okay, let us continue.
Jagdish. Yeah,
Yes.
Jagdish. So actually, when I finished my house and I invited Pandey sir, he had immediately visited my house. I remember, and he just looked at everything and he said, okay, whatever we have been doing at Iparti, you have taken it, you have carried it forward in the sector. And I mean, that was a really encouraging words from you, Dr. Pandey. I mean, that was really
No,
nice.
madam, it was, in fact, it is a unique thing you have created for the world, not only for Indian people, for India, but for the world. In fact, people from other countries also should come and visit that structure and then appreciate that whatsoever work is being done by us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pandeyji. Sunitji, shall we continue with the, you know, the let us take, you know, the opinion from the reviewers before going to the open house?
Yes,
Because,
and I also believe that the reviewers themselves, Professor Sanjeev Singh and Professor Anand, I mean, they have also equally contributed so piously, I would say,
so let
to
me
this book. Yeah.
let me introduce reviewer architect Professor Sanjeev Singh. He's a Dean Planning and Development at School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal, and he's an esteemed member of our advisory board in the sense CGBMT, and professor at the Department of Architecture, School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. And he is an architecture graduate from Government College of Architecture, Faculty of Architecture, Abdul Kalam Technical University, UP. He received his master's in environmental studies from Melbourne University, the PhD from National University of Singapore, NUS, very famous university. His research interests are in the field of vernacular architecture, cultural landscapes, and environmental studies. He has been conducting a vernacular studio at SPA Bhopal for the last 9 years and has publications in his interest areas. Presently, he also holds the position of Dean Planning and Development, SPA Bhopal. I request, Sanjeev Singh ji to give some insight of what he has done the review. Over to Sanjay Singh ji.
Thank you, Jagdish. Thank you very much. And thank you, Neelam, for sharing my thoughts on this wonderful venture which she took. Being an academic, I believe that knowledge is, if kept in captivity, doesn't help anyone. So dissemination of knowledge is very important. And I remember I used to have discussions with Neelam, and with looking at her works and all, and her experience, nearly quarter of a century experience in specifically in bamboo, and how bamboo can be used as a material in contemporary architecture. I say in contemporary architecture in India. There have been architects who have been working in the world, Shimon Valles and other architects are there who are who have developed bamboo as a material and in contemporary architecture. But in India, when we talk about bamboo, as Mr. Bansal said and Mr. Pandey said, and that it's a building material for poor. No, I don't think so. And I think Neelam has converted it, this particular narrative into a narrative through her work, that it's not a material of poor. It is a material which can be innovatively used in contemporary architecture. And if you look at her works, and if you look at her office, Bamboo Symphony, which is on the cover page of the book, you will see, and if you look at her house and her works, I think you will find that bamboo as a material, how it can be innovatively used. I have seen this innovation in, because I teach vernacular architecture to my students here in SPA Bhopal, and I've seen how bamboo has been traditionally used, and it has been wonderfully used. The diversity through which it has been used basically in construction, in vernacular housing and all traditional housings, it's wonderful. The design aspect is wonderful, and what I see from this book, I will recall one of my things when I was discussing with Anand and Neelam, who are my classmates also. When we were discussing about this book, when she started thinking about this book, you will see it has 2 volumes. So, and if you look at volume 1 and if you look at volume 2, these are 2, the volume 1 is more, can be focused towards a person who is not technical in nature. But if you see volume 2, it has all the technical details into it. The guidelines are there, the elements of a build form are detailed out very well. So the 2 volumes in a way play a very important role. One, the volume first gives you a complete background and how innovative.
Namaste.
innovative and how wonderful bamboo as a material is. So this book covers the entire story. It doesn't miss any point.
I know.
So if you see this book from volume 1, chapter 1 to volume 2, the last chapter, you will see the entire narrative in bamboo has been generated in such a wonderful manner. And while reading, because I was reviewing the entire thing, so while reading the book, it was a very good learning process for me as well, because as an academician, I also always want to read, but when I read something very interesting, I get involved in it. And then I thought I will help Neelam in this book. And it's a wonderful book. It talks about bamboo as a material. And best part of this book is it has been written by an architect. When an architect writes a book on a material, that doesn't just talk about material, but also talks about that material, the innovation which that material has, the potential of innovation that material has into it. And that we can see it is reflected in this book. The detailing part, how bamboo can be structurally used in a modern context, in modern design. So this book is wonderfully, it takes you to the entire narration. I'll say the entire story. And in between, you will find episodes of Neelam's practice, and her stories are there in that. She has wonderfully reflected upon her works also. So I see this book is very informative for practicing architects. It's very informative for a common man also. It is very informative for students who want to take bamboo as a material and try to take it further. So I see this book as a very comprehensive, detailed out narration of bamboo as a material and the innovation potential that this particular book, Bamboo as a Material, has. I think I will thank you very much, Neelam, for such a wonderful book. And I would see that quite a number of students will learn from this book and will try to bring bamboo as a material in their core practices. Thank you very much, Neelam.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjeevji. And we are actually going to ask the comments from one more reviewer, architect Professor D.K. Anand. Professor D.K. Anand, Design Chair at College of Architecture, Trivandrum. He's a senior architect with a strong lineage to project management and consulting. He specializes in establishing sustainable strategies for making improved outcomes with impacts to the deliveries and to the team's development. Graduated from Government College of Architecture, Lucknow. Co-founded Mathur and Daniel, a design partnership, subsequently led design and project teams at corporates in India and abroad. Projects include hotel and resorts at Sterling, residential office developments for Embassy and Chaitanya, Cisco, real estate vision and workplace guidelines for Airtel at Nelson, amongst others. He has turned around contracting and construction operations with P&L responsibility. Currently as Design Chair at College of Architecture, Trivandrum. He shares his learnings and experiences with young minds and mentors a studio for a design practice dedicated for international projects and limited development and investment consulting. Among other alignments, Anand has served as an adjunct faculty at various schools of design and advisory member at Center of Green Building Materials and Technology, Bangalore. And he thoroughly reviewed the book. I request Professor D.K. Anand to give his views. Over to Professor D.K. Anand.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great honor to be in this forum to share the views. It is probably a resonance of the time that we spent reviewing the book actually, and to be enabling us ourselves to share the platform along with august audience and panelists who know the industry much more than what we have been. The best part of this thing is Sanjeev has already said, because both all three of us were reviewing this book and all three of us come with a different perspective. Sanjeev is a hardcore academician. I'm not. But although I've got a love for teaching, so one perspective on which I was looking at it and we shared that thought was that we have got a lot of examples of a bamboo project in various scales, but there is not one which has been dedicatedly done and documented. And I think Neelam's practice was ensuring that there is a variety of and tenacity on which the material was explored, attempted, and I wouldn't say it was copied from somewhere. It was been experimented. And every time that has been done, that became a document by itself. The way it, I'm sure it had gone through a process of number of iterations, whether it is design, detailing, construction technique, and the methodology to do it. There may have been excerpts of certain processes, which is there in research. There have been certain excerpts of what the material could bring in. But to ensure that the material is done and it is implemented and there is a testimony. So when a building stands a testimony of the usage of material and its technique, it is actually a proof for anybody to reconsider or even consider, start looking at it and explore it as a material. And one attempt which was made by all of us was, how do we put this across in a way using examples which is there, not a written research, but which is practically there for somebody to see it. If it has happened there and it is already 5, 10, a decade, 2 decades, 2.5 decades of existence, which means it can stay there. So that brings a lot of confidence on the young professionals, on young craftsmen and young construction team to take it up. So that's the first thing, probably what we are looking to do. While the senior people in the community like Shirsailam sir and Bansal sir and Pandey sir could have been instrumental to bring it into the community engagement model to make it aware, we have to make sure that we bring it to the professionals who could see it as a measure by which they can explore the material. When you see a project completed, I think that becomes a testimony and that becomes an example to attempt. The best part of which it has been documented is, as Sanjeev had said earlier, the first volume concentrates for you to explore the material as a building material. We know it, but we are not, somewhere we are not ready to accept it as the mainstream material because of the ignorance or probably the stigma it contains. Should we take it? Is it fulfilling? Does it qualify? We have heard today that by age, it is stronger than steel in terms of the volume. We have heard by terms of the compressive strength, it has more by terms of its gravity. We know that it has its wonderful characteristics which is required for many aspects of usage in building industry. It is probably the way it had to be handled because yes, it is a natural material. So obviously it needs certain kind of treatments and methodologies, cannot be so sacrosanct to say this is it. So every material, every bamboo, every species, every geography brings in a different kind of a chemical and geographical and biological characteristic to the material. So there is some kind of a assessment that need to be done as you engage in. The first volume enables the user or an explorator to understand the material. The second will give the confidence to him to use it as a material. That is why you can see testimonies of the project. You can see details of the project. You can see, oh, it can be used like this also. Oh, you can bring that much span. Oh, it can be so slender. Oh, can we have curvilinear thing and still stays there? We can stay there also. Oh, okay. So now that is something which has been brought in through this book. a confidence to bring the material back onto the mainstream, enable a student of architecture, enable a student of in civil engineering or other aspects of design who want to explore this material and take it to the next level. I know there has been a lot of attempts. We want a lot of things. There is a reflection of BIS. There is a reflection of codal requirement. I also remember when the World Bamboo Society president was around, we were speaking to him about a requirement of a codal conduct for the building material codes and stuff like that. Probably those are there in some form, and that is the next level of engagement that we have to get this material into, so that people fearlessly take it up and ensure its engagement. And I'm sure using this material will be a long way as we grow and see a future about it. This could be the next level of the material. As we see the carbon footprint and all that things that we talk about, we have to fight it out. So why not? You plant a bamboo today, the moment you are old enough, you can use it for your house. That's the motto I will look at it. That's the way we should look at it. That's the way we should see it. Maybe the next grade of, if Neelam will allow us to do a second review of a second book, we should probably have those codes in place. So it was really a pleasant experience for us, a learning experience throughout the way. And I'm sure there will be a lot of questions being asked. And there are a lot of answers that you would find, a lot of myths that has been there, which have been taken back and have been answered to. So it's a great way. It was a pleasure to have it. Neelam, being a classmate, gave us more opportunities to probe in and ask more questions, which was really a wonderful experience for us. And I'm sure it was a learning for all of us at the same time. And I'm sure she would also enjoyed it along with the other team members who were also exploring it, because it was more experimentation and documentation and realizing a one method which realized it. And what we need to always believe it, in spite of all this, in spite of not having a regulated model of conduct, and there is not regulated codal conduct which was there, we had demonstrated construction of materials and things, and people and structural engineers have come back and vetted it and said they will stand to the time, which is most important. People are living in it, people are using it. I think that's the best thing that we can reach. So I'm sure we have a long way to go. This is the first step. Congratulations, Neelam. And I'm sure all the best to others who are listening to it. And thank you very much to having given this opportunity to have been sharing this information across. Thank you.
Thank you, DK. Thank you.
Thank you, Anandji. And Sunitji, is it right time to ask, ask the floor, like ask the questions from the audience?
Yes,
Because,
I think everybody
Jagdish,
has
Jagdish and Sunit, I think Sunit also needs to because he has been publishing my work since 2004-5. And I think I would like to hear a bit, from that time to now, 2018-19 also you published, I had come to your office, you had called me, and the difference between that time and the beginning and now. So that's from you. And yeah, I would like to hear, and from the architecture fraternity, the developments that are happening now, having that point of view, if you could.
Of course. Yeah, no, Neelamji, the fact that I am here amongst the bamboo family here, that itself is a pointer that one feels excited as an architect, and having sort of had the opportunity to be there in the magazine and have gone through almost an entire plethora of projects which are there pan-India, And I still remember that the first project, in fact, which you had sent, and probably it was an instinctive happening that we sort of said, we need to talk about it. And this is what we need to talk about it, and let's put it on the cover so that it is highlighted, you see. And when somebody was, there was also a talk about documentation, in fact, and the kind of documentation, the meticulous detailing which had come from your end. I think that was another very fascinating feature, that we are talking about a material like bamboo, which at that particular time, I'm talking about 15 years back or so, when your first project had come up, and in the magazine. And at that particular moment, I mean, we were fascinated, and that's the time when actually that was one of the first issues that we had started looking at in terms of a thematic sort of a content that should be there, talking about vernacular architecture, talking about new technologies, and talking about green. You see, because we have, as I was saying, it irks me somehow that in a country as rich culturally and in construction, we still have not given that due importance, to this bamboo, and we have only talked about it in a very romantic way. The world has gone far beyond, in terms of actually physically constructing, innovatively sort of constructing projects of a very large scale. But we have not taken up it to that level. And I'm sure this book, somewhere down the line, will sort of enthuse the architects. And this is the right time. I don't believe that bamboo is a material of the future. The bamboo has been a material of the past. It is a material of the present, and it is a material for the future. And that is the beauty of a versatile material, that it molds itself. As an architect, I think if you explore deeper, it is so fascinating, that I'm sure. But this is where also I sort of, we have eminent, researchers here and academicians. And I really feel, Professor Sanjeev, Professor Anand, there's a question to you, in fact, that how do we sort of really bring in, revive that, revitalize, you see, that kind of a fervor amongst the students in architecture. You see, do we really go in for, projects that we have? We make it compulsory at times, because this is an alternate technology which is there. Do we make it compulsory that you have to do one project which talks vernacular or that language in a different material apart from the brick and the mortar and the concrete structures? You see, that could be one way. I don't know. I'm just throwing a few ideas. But you people, because whenever I have gone to juries, and I've also been associated with academics at various levels, this is what I have been talking to the heads of the departments, etc., that why don't we do something to sort of really vitalize this segment and inculcate that interest in the student right from class 1, 2, 3, you see, rather than talk about it as if it is a secluded, you pick it up if you feel like giving a choice. But do you think we are at that stage we can make it compulsory also? Somebody has to take the initiative to bring in that.
Should I answer?
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suneet, I have been conducting vernacular studio in SPO Bhopal from last 11 or 12 years now. 11 years. And my main aim of the studio is to make my student understand the materials which like bamboo, mud, timber and all, which are so wonderfully used in our vernacular typologies. So the first thing we need to do for our students is to expose them to these materials. So the first thing I usually do is, and it's working well, and we have a very good resource. We basically take them to a Museum of Man, which is basically has around 42 or 45 1:1 vernacular typologies in that museum. 1:1.
Wonderful.
So they start that's why I'm saying the methodology has to be, first you have to their exposure to these materials have to be done, and once the exposure to the material is there, the students of architecture, they are innovative, they are creative, and they will start working out how to use these materials. So I have seen since in my academic career, after I have through vernacular studios, I have been able to embed that that kind of curiosity among certain of my students who have taken vernacular style as one of their guiding principles in their practice, who are doing practice now also.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Sanjeev is very right. I think this exposure is very important. And I think, and from our side, I've been trying to do advocacy because, and media, I would say Suneet has been very, I would say very kind and very, very supportive to me. I've never gone to anybody for, you know, doing anything. I was told that you have to pay to people. I have never done in my life. And I have got published in over 20 countries in another 10 languages, literally. And that has happened somehow. It has just happened, and that has taken to wherever you see today here. And I've been able to enthuse so many architects and people to start using the material. So the role of the media, I think, and right now social media and all kinds of media, I think when you say mainstreaming, that will be very important. You know, as a this thing for, you know, children and young generation and everybody to really start using the material. I mean, that is something I think a lot of support has been there, and much more support also is required in the future from the media.
I totally agree with you. And also the social media needs to be exploited more. I think, you know, today's platform with the students. Yes, Professor Anand. I think you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, no. One point I wanted to appraise is that currently our curriculum does not allow exploration of non-conventional acceptable materials, which means the children are not explored unless they are specifically prompted by stalwarts and academicians like Sanjeev, who conducts a studio per se. Otherwise, by and large, they are devoid of that information, which means we are not actually engaging them to explore that also. If we have a methodology of exploring and enabling them to explore these materials, I am sure that they will want to explore it during their design workshops and during their design elements, and maybe it will go a long way, not immediately, but in the next short span of few years, we should see an engagement of that as a streamlined material, as a requirement at least. That is what I am hoping to see.
I think the new education policy that has come, that is now, I think, made it sort of mandatory, some kind of experimentation that can be done at the college level. And many colleges are, I think, Sanjeev and you will be better to say, but NEP that has come from the government, agriculture-based materials to be used in buildings, I think that could be, you know, exploited by the colleges to really take things forward.
Yes, I have gone through actually new education policy. If you look at the new education policy 2020, and I was part of the committee of Council of Architecture who looked into it. And we also looked into how NEP can be implemented in architecture curriculum. And NEP gives us a huge opportunity. It's a very radical change from the present system. If you look at the policy, and definitely in that policy there is a huge scope which we submitted a report which has been submitted by council to the ministry. In that we have basically mentioned specifically that the certain subjects which were not being taken up, we have added them into that our recommendation, and vernacular and traditional and sustainable and all. Within that, we have subgrouped it, and material, bamboo as a material or mud as a material, that can be taken up in that, and a lot of freedom has been given to the institutions in that to define and devise their courses. And also there are opportunities for for institutions, because I have seen institutions. Once I had been to Thailand, there was an architecture college who was basically specializing in the entire curriculum was based on their traditional architecture systems. They were teaching only that. They were not teaching. Not much of emphasis was on contemporary architecture, but most of the emphasis was on their traditional systems. So you will see, if we get certain freedom through the new education policy, you will find certain institutions whose whole entire curriculum is based on traditional systems.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the Council of Architecture,
it will start evolving.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think so. And the Council of Architecture has to take the lead now that they have taken this wonderful initiative with this new education policy to further now go to the micro level and giving impetus to such explorations. But I'm also cutting across. We have rare opportunities to talk to people such as Mr. Bansal and Shivasalam, who have spent a lifetime for this. Well, my question goes, just an innocent question it is, that do you really feel that at the government level, earlier and now also, I mean, there is something lacking at one level, to give that impetus to the industry? You see, Shiv Salamji was talking about the ecosystem, business ecosystem, and do we have any sort of taking place for bamboo farming? Do we have something like that, initiatives given by the government or something, or if they are not, shouldn't we have them then?
Hey, Sunitji, you see, there is since 2014-15, good about 7 years, a national bamboo mission was being implemented by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, which is particularly about cultivation of bamboo.
Okay.
So these type of things have been there, but ultimately it has to be demand driven, because you grow bamboo, then the problem starts how that bamboo, when the farmer is ready with the bamboo crop, how it will be used. So it has to be a sort of downstream processing has also to be tied up. Unfortunately, that has not taken place. Although there have been impetus on bamboo, and we have a national agroforestry policy which talks about all aspects of cultivation of fast-growing plantation timbers, bamboo, and such others, including the marketing, the downstream processing, everything. But unfortunately, the major focus has been on planting, and then the problem starts when the produce is ready, how to sell it. So I think in times to come, that also is going to take place. There are some discussions going on in the ministry on comprehensive package for plantation timbers and bamboo.
Okay.
Actually, Sunit, we have Lepcha sir from National Bamboo Mission. Lepcha sir, could you maybe throw some light? Yeah. Lepcha sir.
Namaskar.
Namaskar sir. Yes.
Regarding National Bamboo Mission, should I have to speak? So there was two phase. It was, I think, started in 2006. Then again, it was started, as Bansal Saab said, in probably 19. So the mission is in first phase. It was more focused on plantation on forest land and private land, not much on private land. But the second phase was focused more in the private land. So that the farmers get the benefit from the plantation of bamboo. But as Bansal Saab clearly said, that still that linking between the farmers and the entrepreneurship and the users of the bamboo is slightly lacking. But I think we have to do more on that. And the bamboo is a versatile material. And because of that content, lignin and carbohydrate, so some of the bamboos are very strong and so some of the bamboos are very soft. So for very specific to end product bamboo species are very specific to end product uses. So that is why we have to think planting. Suppose that if there is a demand in Bangalore or Pune or something like that, so we have to develop farmers on that line so that those species can grow only on that site. Otherwise, another problem with bamboo is that, say, it is hollow material. So almost 80% of the bamboo is air. So if you carry all the way bamboo from Assam to Bangalore, so the cost of air we are paying. So that is why it is become very expensive if you bring bamboo from Assam to Bangalore or Kerala, something like that.
That was the purpose of asking this question, in fact, to understand that easy availability makes it easy accessibility of the material, makes it easy for the client to sort of go in for a particular material, makes it easy for a construction person to go in for that, and above all, makes it easy for the architect to think about utilizing that material, you know?
Yep. So now this, because of Government of India, they have a policy that the transportation of bamboo from private land is no problems. So no need of permission or all this thing. So that is one of the best policy the Government of India has started. So the another problem is that, but still it is for the larger architecture or civil engineer or family still unknown. So I think because of this social media and all this thing, it will promote in future. But my only request is that, say, you have to develop a mini SEZ type ecosystem. So around Bangalore, so you have to plant some Balqua or Newtons or some species, those who are used only for the architecture purpose or construction purpose. So that is my advice. No need to transport from Assam. So I think the green material become another. The carbon footprint will be too much. So let's develop that.
Can I add
carbon
something?
footprint because with transportation of air.
Yeah.
Although you may get northeastern air in Bangalore.
Can I add something to this? Actually, you know what Suneet was saying, that there is a need for integrating it. So the process has started. Recently, I was in a consultation group. This consultation was basically organized by World Resource Institute, India, and Center for Responsible Business. And this was only talking about the regional consultation to explore, to develop a value chain alliance for bamboo. They called it as Value Chain Alliance for Bamboo. And apart from academics, the business people were also there. There were certain organizations who were doing manufacturing in bamboo. There were certain organizations, there were certain farmers who were who had planted bamboo in there. So this consultation, this thing has initiated at a very basic level. Now it has started, but I think, but it will take some time for. This was only focused for central India, but slowly it will expand, and the consultation group came out with their recommendations that how businessman has to be linked to the farmer, because it is finally the bamboo has to be used by in a commercial way. So this consultation group was the first of its kind meeting which was held in Bhopal here. So I was part of that, and things have initiated in this direction also. What
Giriraj Saab is doing very well in Maharashtra. He is coordinating this.
Okay.
Mr. Giriraj Saab.
Okay.
I think he's in the Zoom probably. So he's doing very good work in.
That's so good to know. Initiatives are being taken.
I met a business person who is making bamboo furniture for high-end resorts in Maldives.
Yeah, he's from Maharashtra only.
He's from Maharashtra. He's from, I think he
Sanjeev
is
Karpe.
from Sindhugarh. Sindhugarh. I
Sanjeev
have his
Karpe.
card with me. He gave me his card. And when I was talking to him, he said that I am sending my furniture to resorts in Maldives. So the point of this whole consultation workshop was to bring the producer and the consumer, manufacturer together and try to develop something. So I think this kind of a value chain alliance is very much necessary. I will call it as value chain alliance.
Absolutely, I mean, yeah, and this is also the private-public partnership has a very important role. It's a great ingredient in going forward, actually. Over a period of time, this will, I'm sure, on its own spontaneity, just because of the sheer the quality of structures that you can have in bamboo, that itself is going to ignite people to go forward. And we are so fortunate that creativity in today's 21st century with the youth and with architects, I mean, they are more exploratory, if given an opportunity to explore. So I think the future is very bright. And Jagdish, are we okay with time, or how are we going?
I think we are
open the floor for questions, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we have overshot our official time, but then the conversation has been so enthralling, I would say, and understanding this material through people who are so deeply involved. You see, I think it's not every day an opportunity of this nature arises, and I think over a period of time. I mean, but let's move to the questions. If there's anybody who is there, Radhika, could you have a look if there's any questions which have cropped up?
Mr. Shoka seems to have raised his hand.
Yes. So, Mr. Shoka, would you like to chip in your thoughts?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yeah, it was nice to attend the meeting, sir. And we started bamboo farming, and after farming only we came to learn a lot about bamboo. And we are growing Bambusa bulkova, the Bima variety from Gromor Biotech. And now for marketing, we are trying various avenues, and we are also trying the biocharcoal also. As far as harvesting is concerned, every 4th year or 5th year we should take the harvest, or in our places what the regular traders do is they just cut off all the bamboos at once and leave it. They say that it's faster growing. Is it scientifically correct or wrong, sir?
I think that is not the correct way. That is not the correct way, because bamboo grows on the periphery. So there is a system of harvesting. You can talk to me personally. I can advise you, because you have to start harvesting from the center and move towards the periphery. It grows on the periphery. So, and every year 1/5 of the culms are to be harvested depending upon the species. But if you harvest everything, then maybe the clump will die.
Yeah,
clump will die. Okay, sir. That's what we are also following. We are also now using the color coding to mention which year it is growing now.
Yeah. Dr. Bharati must have advised you also the Gromor Biotech. Yeah.
Just to add,
most of the local traders they buy that and they adopt it.
Hello.
Arne sir, you can speak.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jagdish. In fact, bamboo is coming up as a very good substitute as a wood material. Since bamboo is a fastest growing plant, and I think it can replace wood in a very big way by way of making it or converting into the composite material. And there are some good firms which has come up in the Northeast and they have started manufacturing bamboo lumber, in fact, grass laminated bamboo lumber. And that has become a very good source actually for manufacturing the quality furniture, as is what told by previous person. So it has got a huge potential, and we already know that bamboo sequesters a lot of carbon more than other plants. So it will also address to this carbon sequestration issue also. So that way, I think bamboo is one of the best material, and a lot of efforts in the past have been made actually to develop some of the industry. But now I think time has come, and a lot of thrust has already been given for the growing of bamboo, and plenty of material is now going to be made available. So that way, there is a good scope for putting up the industries and converting bamboo into structural material, converting bamboo in a good composite material which can be otherwise used as a substitute to wood. That's all I just wanted to add. Thank you, Dr. Jagdish.
Thank you,
Also,
Bansalji.
if we don't harvest bamboo in the 4th or 5th year, this is the 7th year, even when it's in the clump, it will die, sir. The pole.
Bamboo is not supposed to be harvested at one time. That's what was the that's what was told, and you should not be do clear harvesting is generally dangerous to the thing. This is what Mr. Bansal was trying to tell. So after the first 4th, 5th year, you're supposed to when the bamboo actually start, and depending on the purpose for which you're harvesting. For building purpose, only after 4th year or so we start considering about 4th year of planting, or not from the sapling. From sapling is almost like more than 5 years. After that, every alternate year you can do it, and there's a method to do it. In fact, in the book harvesting, we have covered in the book also. But as Bansal sir said, you can contact him for any advice on this. I think we have covered this harvesting part in our book, in the volume 1, as to harvest. Because architects, we found, in fact, even I have worked for so many years, even now it is very difficult to recognize bamboo. After once, if you try to do it, once it is felled and then it comes to the market, it becomes very difficult. In fact, there are many scientists which I have been speaking to while I was working on the book. Even they find it very difficult if the leaves are not there and all those things are removed, it becomes very difficult to even recognize. So there is one thing that I just wanted to mention, and which we have tried to put in the book as well, that we need graded bamboo marts for graded bamboo. So and so species, so much of dia, and like a proper, like you have a steel, kind of specifications and things like that. And that's another thing which actually from the government and even other people, sector, if somebody can do it, and that's a very good thing to do. More and more architects and engineers and other people actually can use it. And sir, towards this, I just wanted to share, I'm happy to share, we are trying to do a project called Bamboo Villages here in Karnataka, where we want to set up different villages which will have one CFC center along with the bamboo plantation. I think CFC centers were already put before, they are defunct, but I think we need to really have a lot of training and skilling that needs to be done. And with that center, again, bamboo should not become like a monoculture at one place. So if we consider an area, so how it has to be done. So that is another project that we have tried to do, where bamboo should become available to people in the usable format. And as Bansal sir was saying, it needs to be standardized. It needs to, all those things are required. So as per that, bamboo will be available for this. So we have covered these aspects in the book also for the benefit of the people, because lot of doubts on, even now I have lots of doubts on bamboo. I would admit, which I'm still trying to find answers, which probably in the next editions or volumes, it may get added later, just to say.
No, I think it has been a wonderful session, at least for me. I really feel energized and enlightened, on this subject with this session today, and listening to the horse's mouth and being educated, in fact. You see, it's a learning experience. And because the future of this material and construction is so bright, if channelized, which the channels are coming up. You see, as they say, Rome was not built in a day.
Yes.
So, I thank you so much for this session, Neelamji, and
you.
wish you all the best for this book, which is going to be going to educate so many people and going to charge people to further explore a material that is, at the end of the day, a green material, which is so important. It is sustainable and so important for our habitat,
Yeah.
So we need to go forward
Can I
with
add?
that spirit.
Can I add one more?
Yes.
Just a word of, I wouldn't say caution. When we're talking about using bamboo for buildings, I think people, as you say, were telling that they romanticize. So we have this Bali style kind of bamboo construction with bamboo, which is considered the bamboo construction. Actually, that is, in my opinion, it's not the right way. It is making bamboo into a niche, only for niche usage. And the mainstream of bamboo should be in such a manner that it should be able to compete with all other materials in a proper, not in a romanticized, as you said, romanticized kind of a thing. It has to compete not for its beauty and looks, but for its quality and engineering properties. Only then it can be mainstreamed. And mainstreaming would mean that on everyday buildings, like your house, your office, your school, for everything. And for that, bamboo has to be used in a composite manner, not alone as only bamboo. Because when the moment people say bamboo means you have to have column, beam, this, that, everything with bamboo. Now, where in very few pockets of the country and the world, you have all bamboo buildings where people can actually stay. And that is one thing which has been, something which I have been facing as an architect. Because when people come, they think that I only work with these all bamboo buildings, and I'm an architect who don't touch any other material. And that actually is a disservice to bamboo as a building material in mainstreaming. It has to be used with all other materials. Every material is great. Where to use, how much to use, and why to use, if we are, and it's us, our mind, it has to be a shift, that I will use bamboo for this. I don't start with that. People think that I start with bamboo. I don't. Where to use, how much to use, and how to use. That is something which is very important. And to take it forward as a mainstreaming the material. And this aspect we have tried to enlighten in the book and cover in the book, that use bamboo as another material in your material palette. The way you would be using other materials like wood and like other things. And don't try to focus कि हाँ मुझे तो bamboo में ही सब कुछ करना है और मुझे bamboo building बनानी है, मतलब सारा bamboo होना चाहिए. That is a very wrong way of mainstreaming bamboo, and it's a disservice to bamboo. Our traditional also, nobody used bamboo. Very few areas, I said northeast, and very few areas where all bamboo buildings, are usable or are used as a traditional, dwelling also. So we have to really understand that fact, because in a enthusiasm of you saying that bamboo ko aage badhana hai, ye all bamboo buildings wala, and people like us, we don't have so much of money for the media and videos and things like that to really come forward with telling, who will sell bamboo? Like a farmer is growing bamboo, who will sell bamboo? But everyone is going to there to sell steel, because there's a corporation, there's a marketing budget, and there are things like that. And these are aspects we have tried to cover in the book, what it means to work with bamboo as a building material and how it should be taken forward. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree with, Neelamji, because, this year I'm going to handle two associations. I'm the chairman for Indian Concrete Institute, and at the same time, director, Bamboo Society of India, AP chapter. So one side I have to handle bamboo, and another side I have to promote concrete. So you need to see, bamboo versus concrete, is it a love or hate relationship? We have to see. So a lot of answers, I'll get, and at the same time, I'm going to promote the bamboo wherever it is available in plenty. At the same time, wherever the concrete is required, we just have to promote. So one has to have the holistic approach to handle the housing requirement of the country on a whole. This is my view.
Just one point. So I have a traditional house in my village, in my hometown. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, it is built in 1865. So almost 50% is wood, all joinery, Lepcha traditional houses, and almost 50% is bamboo. So it is, the location is in Kalimpong. It was district Darjeeling. Now Kalimpong district is separated. So since almost 30 years, that house is still running. So we are still living there. That means I think we have to explore on that line also, especially in the Himalayan belt where this earthquake zone is there. So if somebody work on that line so that we can reduce the lots of casualty and the taxpayer money also.
Lepchaji, I just wanted to interrupt Lepchaji. The work on seismic response study on bamboo-based construction was started by IPRITI. When Dr. C.N. Pandey was there, I was the principal investigator. We thoroughly worked on seismic response study of these houses, particularly for northeastern regions and some of the Himalayan regions. And recently I visited Nepal for a week, and then we promoted there also. So the book, what Neelamji was, promoting in both the volumes, these seismic aspects also it covered. Yeah.
Mr. Lepcha, I would say I'm working on a research project where we are basically looking into vernacular typologies and how this is a project given to us by Ministry of Steel. So how structural steel can be, my request with Ministry of Steel was that I will not change the essence of vernacular architecture, because and the whole project is all about that. We have taken 5 typologies in seismic zones, and we are replacing timber, which is the structural element in the structures. We are replacing it by steel, structural steel only. That part is, and rest of the essence remains same. And we are working, and this particular thing will be not just a design thing, but we will be testing it in the seismic lab at MNIT Jaipur, which has a very good seismic lab. We will be making a 1:1 ratio, a structure there in that, and we'll be testing it. A real-time testing will be done. So what I am doing in that is basically trying to use steel, structural steel, as a material replacing only timber.
Okay.
Okay. I also see Shiv Salimji, there's a hand. If you're there.
I mean, I thought I'll just give my comments.
Please.
On the issue of logistics involved in transporting timber from the Northeast. I think that narrative is dated. I would request you not to pursue with that narrative hereinafter, because the situation on the ground has changed. We now have inland waterways running through Bangladesh, like in the olden days, till including during the Indo-Pak War, the tea from Assam used to come through East Pakistan then, and that route is now re-established. So we have barges moving right from Dibrugarh right up to Kolkata and Sagar Island. You can, in fact, we don't even need to go up to Kolkata. We can go up to Sagar Island and then take the coastal shipping route, and then transport bamboo to factories along the coastal areas. The suggestion that factories need to come in and around Bangalore, I think, is not possible if you look at the availability of raw materials from outside. You need to be, it essentially needs to be coastal, so that you could have coastal shipping handling your large volumes of bamboo for you. And that comes as a fraction of the cost. The last estimate which I did, I mean, for your information, my last posting before I retired from government service was a secretary logistics, and I was the country's first logistics secretary. And this was one of the issues. The whole ecosystem which you are seeing in the inland waterways, transportation through Bangladesh, has actually changed the dynamics forever. And something like bamboo, which is amenable to containerization. You can have bamboo in containers and transport them, which makes it extremely cheap and extremely possible. You don't need to even handle bulk, because bulk handling will mean multiple options at ports. So you can get them in containers right up to your factory. Preferably, what is costlier will now on is not the movement of bamboo from, let us say, this northeast to Mangalore, as far as Karnataka will be concerned. The problem is, if you are wanting to move from Mangalore to Bangalore, that cost will be prohibitive. So I think we need to, as today, I mean, I would only suggest that the whole theme of this book is to make bamboo a viable commercial product. And I entirely agree with Neelam. I think a lifetime, this thing is also proving this fact that we are not talking about bamboo housing. We are talking about bamboo products and bamboo technology.
Yes.
I mean, the romanticization concept is good, but we're not talking about it at all. We're talking about bamboo products and bamboo technology. And that is possible when you create an interest. So the issue of providing farmers is out of the window at this stage. Bamboo is available. Farmers are willing to supply. And technology, and that is where the technology comes. We were talking about quality of bamboo. I mean, that is where I wanted to impress upon you that composites have changed that. When you talk about composites, the quality of bamboo does not matter. It is any bamboo. The quality of bamboo matters when you are wanting to preserve its intrinsic nature in certain applications. If you are wanting to use it as an industrial product and convert it into composites, well, I just require bamboo. And even the worst possible bamboo can be made into an excellent composite product. And that's where we should be moving as engineers. We should not be, the temptation to get into bamboo cultivation, that is another area of romanticization which we should avoid. It's just not necessary. Researchers will continue doing it. I mean, I would only like to say that we need to get the businesses in, and businesses will not come if you are going to make this narrative that it's very costly to transport from the Northeast. That was there in my era. My era is gone 20 years ago. Today it is 2000, and from 2019, this narrative is no longer valid. The question is, are we able to organize the logistics? And the answer is yes, because bamboo lends itself to containerization. And that's where I think we should be going. We should be looking at businesses, and we should be looking at technology options for bamboo. And if you have a high quality bamboo, it's capable of high quality certain other things as well. But we are talking of industrial products. And that's the way I would like to look at this subject to carry things forward. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, these are great insights, and it's a breath of fresh air, in fact. You know, what you have just what you have just talked about, that you know. So I think in coming directly from you, who understands the business ecosystem in this industry, I think that's a booster for people not to sort of feel apprehensive about what we were talking about earlier. In fact, you know, about the transportation, the availability, etc., etc. So that clears so many doubts. Dr. Jagdish has been truly very generous with time, I must say.
If people are interested to transport bamboo to any place, I still, I also hold the chairmanship of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, and I work pro bono with all the transport, with all the transport ecosystem or the logistics ecosystem of this country. If it had not been for this conference, I would have been in my usual Saturday evening with the logistics trade. And I can tell you that anybody who wants bamboo, just tell me. We will get it organized through the inland waterways ecosystem, and the quantity is any volumes. It's which should not be less than a container load, because that's the basic thing. Because and a container load is nothing for the nature of our industry.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Shivashailam sir. Because as long as there is a demand for a particular product, there is definitely demand for raw material. So based on the demand, if raw material supply is required in a huge quantity, definitely the logistics plays very, very important role, wherein your help is definitely required for the bamboo fraternity. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You can spread it across. I'll get the logistics trade to work with you, because this business has not taken logistics. The problem is technology and business is in the southern part of this country. The raw material is in the northeastern part of this country. And that ecosystem needs, that bridging can only be done by logistics. And so far, the logistics was extremely, I think Mr. Pandey tried to get 2 or 3, I think it was actually done. It didn't work out. We couldn't manufacture the corrugated bamboo sheet. It was also done by RV Tyfac. And they even with volumes, they found that they couldn't match the asbestos sheet. But that situation is no longer there. And if you as a group, a lot of you are from the trade, some of you are from the Bamboo Mission, and I'm surprised that the Bamboo Mission has not addressed it. Maybe it's my fault. I should have taken it up with the bamboo, because this is an area where Bamboo Mission will be successful overnight. And I'm willing to offer this opportunity to work with the industry and to advise you, and each one of you who is interested to promote this business, take it forward, because the logistics costs are totally different now. Thank you.
Okay, these are really truly great insights and knowledge, and also information for the future for people who are so focused, and majority of our audience is very much into the business of bamboo now. And these are words actually which give a lot of confidence to everybody, you know, that you come forward and there is a way, but do come forward, you know. So that I really take that from today's session, that believe in this material. If you have the belief and what Neelanji said, I think that was really very to the point, focused, that it is not only talking about bamboo, housing or anything. You have to balance off materials. Give bamboo the true importance that it deserves, just as we have given to other materials, and the combination of other diverse materials. I think that's where the future of contemporary architecture lies. But I repeat again, Dr. Jagdish is very generous with time today. How are we going forward? Because Radhika, I mean, it's been a great session. Thank you so much. Yeah, Jagdish.
Thank you, Sunitji, and you know, we both wonderfully, you know, managed the time also. I think it's time to you know, ask Radhika Gopinath, the architect, to, you know, introduce about the Sagar, who closely worked with Neelamji, you know, on this book, and maybe she will.
Yes. Actually, Sagar has. There were many people who worked on the book off and on, but Sagar was like a constant person. I mean, he has the maximum contribution has been done by him. First, he was a volunteer at CGBMT. Then he worked with Mansaram Architects. And again, he became a volunteer after leaving Mansaram Architects, and he is still with us. He left Mansaram and in November, but he still has been working with us. And he is very passionately interested in refugee housing. And in fact, so he's working with us even on disaster management DM team with Radhika on our project. And this book, he has done a lot of work on it in compiling and doing things and photographs and all that.
Good.
So I request Sagar, so first share 1 or 2, if you 1 or 2 minutes, and then you can show about the book that you have made the video for the book.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank Neelam ma'am for entrusting me with the opportunity to work on the book. And it has been a huge learning curve for me from the beginning to what it is now. Like initially, myself and the team were new to Bamboo. Like we know how to approach it. And ma'am has been so instrumental in guiding us through every step of the book, from harvesting, from how to treat bamboo, how to design with bamboo, how to use bamboo as a material. Like by now, I'm sure we've heard from all the experts, Dr. Bansal sir, Sunit Paul sir, Professor Sanjeev Singh, Dr. Jagdish Vengla, architect Dr. Architect D.K. Anand, about how bamboo plays an important role in today's construction industry. I would also like to thank everyone who worked along with me on the book, who worked before me, after me, during with me. It was just amazing to just work with everyone. The kind of research we had to do for the book, we had to go through newspaper articles, research papers, lots of books, and obviously lots of in-office lectures with Architect Neelam ma'am itself, which was just, knowledge just coming directly from her. I would again like to thank Architect Neelam ma'am for giving me the opportunity. I encourage everyone to come forward and buy the book and read it and explore how it just helps students, architects, civil engineers, everyone, how helps them how bamboo as a primordial material can be used in the construction industry, and how we can take it forward from here with this book. Thank you, ma'am, once again. I would like just like to share a small snippet that was made for the book launch, pre-launch.
చెప్తాను.
Cycling. Over to you, Radhika ma'am.
I started booking. What are you waiting for? I have already shared the link. I just can't wait, because after hearing such a wonderful conversation, and then I'm so glad to be here listening all the lectures. So I think you have already started doing it, and we have already shared here the link here. So please go ahead and start booking it. So with this, I have Radhika Gopinath. I would like to share a few announcements here.
Radhika,
Yes, ma'am.
I think there's one thing we sort of probably missed it. The forward to the book is written by Shivshalam sir and Arun Bansal sir. And the blurb for the book has been written by architect Professor D.K. Anand and Professor Dr. Sanjeev. And Jagdish has reviewed many of the technical chapters, and he has given his insights on that. So this is, and I think about other people I've already shared here. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Can I read out those lines? one or two? Yeah, from the blurb, I can read out two important reviewers who are here, present here. So they have given this quote. At a time when the world is running after 3D printed houses of synthetic, high-tech, energy-intensive materials, Neelam hails this low-tech, high-science, low-energy material as the cutting-edge, next-generation material of the future from the past. That's from architect Professor Anand DK. And we have one more. The book is one of the long-awaited books on bamboo, which will be an important source of reference to students of architecture, civil engineering, and design. An extremely informative book on bamboo and bamboo composites as constructive material in today's modern world. Thank you so much for this. So I have a few announcements to share here. As you all know, CGPMT is Center for Green Building Materials and Technology, and we've been constantly working on focusing on skilling. So for this year, we are focusing on simplifying skilling, and there are a number of workshops which is carried out. And this year, again, it's very important because we started working extensively in the developing of headquarters, CGPMT headquarters in Devarahalli, which is near the old airport road. So yes. So these are some, workshops which is going on. Every month we try to develop a workshop related to one part of the construction. So we initially we had about the types of foundation, which is successfully, it carried out, and almost more than 20 participants were there. And then the second workshop is upcoming now. It's basically based on the types of wall construction. So this is the headquarters model. So you can see here, and any volunteer who's interested to work closely with us, and they can just write an email to us, and then we can actually accommodate them, and they can closely work with us to understand the type of construction, the natural construction methods. We have one more option where they can be, resident, the volunteering with residents, so almost residency we can say. For 45 days you can be there and then try to learn things. So if you want to contact, I can drop a volunteer manager architect Garima number, so you can contact her if you're interested to do it. But here we have this poster, it is all there in the social media, you can register for it. So this I've already shared in the chat box.
The bamboo workshop, Radhika.
Yes, ma'am. So the bamboo workshop is coming in the September 1st week. So for that only I was telling that we have an option, open call for all the volunteers who are really passionate to learn and get hands-on workshop. And you can, we can provide you the accommodation, and 45 days continuously you can be there in the site, closely observe and learn all the types of construction related to bamboo. So that's again one more announcement I wanted to do here. So this is the link which I was telling about the book. So finally, we have come to the end of the session where we have discussed a lot about Let's Build with Bamboo. And this you can actually pre-order. So there is a concession when you order it before, and then you will be getting, once it is published. So this is the Google link, and it will be publicly also in social media, will be transferring. And with this, we have come to the end of the session, and just wanted to share one more interesting thing, that as a volunteer, even I joined as a volunteer, and now I become a manager now. So we have, challenge to improve the volunteers, like almost 500 we are planning. So if you're really interested, you can drop an email to us, and we'll be very happy to absorb. These are the
enroll me into it.
Yes, sir, sure. anybody can just join as a volunteer.
I'll take your word for it, Suneet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, based on your professional experience also, like if you're experienced in something, we can call out with that particular title, and then we can hire you for that. So now we have come to the vote of thanks. So I would request Sonali to share the screen, please. Though the session has come to an end, but this is a beginning for this book. We have a lot of, many more promotional programs which is going to come all over the year. And I wish Architect Neelam Manjunath ma'am to, hearty wishes to make this book very successful, and it should reach to the global and most of them should get benefited out of it, because she has spent her lifetime, and then and wanted everybody to she don't want anybody to cross that hurdles what she went through. So this book is going to give a very easy approach, like a handbook, where people can really think that if you want to explore that material in the biggest way, and this book is going to really help her out. So it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Thanks to Architect Neelam ma'am. So on behalf of CGBMP organization, I would like to firstly congratulate our beloved founder of CGBMP, Architect Neelam Manjunath ma'am, and best wishes for the success of this book. I'm so excited that I'm part of this webinar today. And secondly, to our honorable guest speakers, respected dignitaries, our most valued invited guests, I extend a very, very hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers for raising your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions and the time and energy you have spent here today. And the same thing, you will continue doing it. So I'm really, really thankful for all of you. And special thanks to our audience, been patiently listening, and then and I'm glad that I know that you're actually for to this good cause. So that's why you're all here. And so, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear students, thanks a ton to our backend team also for this support, and to each one of you to make this event very grand success. Thank you so much. And I have shared all the links in the WhatsApp. If you want to connect to us further with any social media, please drop an email or link. We'll be very happy to connect with you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you, Neelam, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations once again, Neelam.
Thank you. Thank you. Need
And
everyone's
it's been-
blessing. Yeah.
And
Thank
it's
you,
been
sir.
so good connecting with everybody. And,
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you,
All the best.
Shalom, sir.
Thank you, Neelam. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Pandey sir. Thank you, Bansal sir.
Thank you, Neelam. Thank you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanjita. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Jagdish.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you, Suneet. Thank you, Suneet. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Sanjeev.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Sonali, Sagar, Karthik.
This sir is already out for the adventure, ma'am.
Yeah, Jagdish sir. I could see that.
Yes.
Yeah. Sanjita, how are you?
Yeah, fine, ma'am. Yeah, I'm fine. It was nice program. Yeah.
You can switch
fine.
on your video. I think everyone in my office keeps hearing about you
Okay.
as the best
Yeah,
employee.
cooking.
Okay, as the best employee of Mansaram Architects that I had.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really nice to know. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Actually, it was very nice. I remember my this whole book volumes to my library also in college.
Yeah, sure.
I will recommend
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you.
Yeah, because it is very useful to students also to learn and all that thing. I
Yeah.
will share this link in my email also.
Yeah, sure.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and that books also. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjita. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank
Yeah. Thank you, Radhika.
Ma'am, it's my
All the
pleasure.
energy. Yeah, Sagar.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Karthik, thank you so much. He made the poster for the webinar. I really bothered. Last Saturday, Sunday, I bothered him so much, through the day.
No, ma'am, it's my pleasure. I will always be there to work.
Yeah, we're expecting you on 30th and 31st.
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Yeah, I'm coming.
I'm expecting Sagar also.
Yes.
Yeah. Mostly Karmani is also expected, she was telling. Hopefully she is able to make it. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and have a good weekend. Thank you, Sudesh Namdev. Okay. Thank you, Arna, for joining.